Hello, today is November 15, 2020. My name is Maximina Sandoval. I'm interviewing Jose Ivan Sandoval for the University Library Special Collections and Archives at the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, here after abbreviated as UTRGV. This project is in partnership with the Voces Oral History Center at the University of Texas at Austin. Mr. Sandoval, this interview will be placed in the University Library Special Collections and Archives at UTRGV and shared with the Oral History Center at the University of Texas at Austin. If there's anything you do not wish to answer or talk about, I will honor your wishes. Also, if there's something you want to talk about, please bring it up and we'll talk about it. The University Library Special Collections and Archives will archive your interview along with any other photographs or other documentation you are willing to share. Your TRGV University Library will retain copyright or non-exclusive rights to the interview and other materials you donate to special collections and archives at UTRGV. Because we are not conducting this interview in person, I need to record you consenting to make sure you agree with our interview procedures before we continue. So I'll ask you a series of 6 questions. Please say yes, I agree, or no, I do not agree after each question. Number one, do you give University Library Special Collections and Archives at UTRGV consent to archive your interview and your materials at UTRGV Library?
Yes,
Okay, for the second, do you grant UTRGV University Library Special Collections and Archives right, title, and interest in copyright over the interview and any materials you provide?
yes,
Do you agree to allow UTRGV University Library Special Collections and Archives to post this interview on their internet where it may be viewed by people around the world?
yes,
Okay. Um, And do you grant the University Library Special Collections and Archives consent to share your Zoom interview in the Voces Oral History Center at the University of Texas at Austin for inclusion in the Voces of Pandemic Oral History Mini Project, which will include posting their interview on the internet?
yes,
As you recall, we previously filled out a pre interview form. We used information from the pre interview form to help in research. The entire form is kept in secure Voces server at the University of Texas at Austin. Before Voces sends it to UTRGV University Library Special Collections and Archives, we will have stripped out any contact information for yourself or family members so that you will not be part of the of so that they will not be part of your public file. Your public file will only be accessible at UTRGV University Library. The final 2 questions ask for your consent on what I just described. Number five, do
yes,
you wish for us to share the rest of the interview in your public file available to researchers at UTRGV University Library Special Collections and Archives?
yeah,
On occasion, UTRGV Special Collections and Archives and Voces require requests from journalists who wish to contact our interview subjects. We only deal with legitimate news outlets. Do you give consent for us to share your phone number or your email with journalists?
yes,
Thank you for your consent. Your experiences and stories mean a lot to us at UTRGV Special Collections Archives. I look forward to what you say in the interview questions that I will now ask. As for our project questions, they are: what are the questions and what are the stories and experience of Latinos in South Texas in the COVID-19 pandemic? And Jose, thank you for your time today. Like I said earlier, your voices and experiences are valuable to us at UTRGV Special Collections and Archives and the Voces Project. Particularly for us at UTRGV Special Collections, we are committed to preserving the stories of Mexican Americans and Latinos from South Texas and the Rio Grande Valley, and those who work closely with population during this COVID-19 pandemic. Well, you are a truck driver delivering to every kind of grocery and essentials to different places around the country. That being said, being from Mission, Texas, and far away from home, I'm family used to providing for others. So before I ask you to share stories about your life in this pandemic, tell me, who is Josivan Sandoval?
Um, I was I was born there in the valley, raised there. Went to high school. I mean to La Jolla, graduated. Then became a truck driver. Got married, had a son. I'm here.
Okay, and for the first set of questions, it's gonna be the personal understanding of COVID-19 and the first encounters. So the first question I want to ask you: when did you hear about COVID-19, or how did you learn about it? Through radio, TVs, media, or
Last year when it was starting to rise there in China through Facebook, that they couldn't find a cure to it.
uh, when was your first reaction to the information about COVID-19?
What was my reaction?
Yeah, to the first and like to the information that was first given to the public.
That they were gonna find a cure for it. That it wasn't gonna get as big as it is right now.
Where were you when you first got the news about the whole lockdown?
Uh, I was working. I don't remember where I was, but I was working, and when I first heard, what was, about the uh, quarantine, all that stuff.
Okay, and at what point did you realize this pandemic was a serious life altering event, or do you not think it's serious?
When I got into the valley, then a lot of people started getting sick. A lot of people started, you know, dying from it, and that it was getting more people were getting contagious, and they couldn't find a cure for it or a vaccine or anything that would prevent us from getting sick.
Okay. And over the last few months, what news media or social media or other sources did you rely on to keep you informed about the coronavirus?
Well, mostly Facebook, YouTube, local news, television.
Okay. And during when you would see this news, how would it make you feel being so far away?
Worried that I wasn't close to my family, for any kind of thing that would happen, that I wasn't close, to them. That maybe they could get sick or anything like that.
And can you share with me what you don't understand about COVID-19 as an infectious disease?
No, I mean pretty much. You know, at this point, I guess most everybody knows what the deal is with coronavirus.
And likewise, can you share with me what you don't understand about this whole new coronavirus and how it just developed out of nowhere, as one could say, in the other part of the country, on this the world? I sorry.
Mm. That people didn't like took it seriously for it, that they didn't get prepared, that they thought it was all fake, that it wasn't real. That's what I don't understand with the people.
Okay, and if the opportunity would encounter itself of having the first COVID-19 vaccine available on the market, would you take it? Why or why not?
No.
Why wouldn't?
Uh, I don't know. I mean, probably because I haven't gotten sick of it. Not even like a cold or anything. So, I mean, I don't know. Probably I would. Um,
Okay,
I mean,
and
I don't take my annual flu shots or anything like that. I don't know. Just, I would think.
and does your family hold the same belief as you about the COVID, or are there some members who take it more seriously or lightly that you know of?
My wife, she takes it more seriously, you know, because we have a 2-year-old son, and they're more, you know, prone to, you know, getting sick. So she, you know, cleans more, Clorox more, you know, and it's more, she's more cautious when she goes to the store to buy groceries, you know, being just more precautious.
And do you know of anyone that has gotten sick or someone who doesn't believe that it's real?
No, everybody pretty much knows it's real.
Mm. And for these next set of questions, I'm gonna ask about your company procedures for safety, just working as a truck driver and how it's been impacted by the pandemic. First, can you tell me what company you work for, or if you wish to not share the name of your workplace, can you tell me where the company is located and what type of delivery you do?
It's located here in Dallas, and we pretty much it's like Walmart, uh, transportations, and Home Depot, Clorox, toilet paper, you know, a lot of essential items.
Mhm. And were you always with this company during these times, or
No,
did
I was with another company that they transport the food. So you know they were like a key company when the pandemic kicked in because there was a lot of food, you know, that was needed for people and still is.
okay? Before the pandemic, how was it like as a truck driver to make deliveries and travel?
Um, when we would deliver the loads, it was more easy, you know, because I mean there wasn't a lot of restrictions on driving when getting off into the store, so it was a little bit more easier right now.
Right now, or and how did being a truck driver change
Yeah, I
when?
mean right now, dude.
Oh, how did being a truck driver change when the pandemic first hit?
Um, that we were gonna be more vulnerable to getting infected because we were in the road more, you know, interacting with people, and that we had to like have more precautions on, you know, on our what do you call it, sanitary issues with our trucks. You know, keeping them clean. You know, to wear our mask every time we get out the truck. You know, and just being more precautious. You know, when getting out of the trucks.
Okay. And was there any less traffic on the road during when the nation was declared on shutdown around March and April?
Yeah, there was less traffic because people weren't going to their jobs. You know, like to the offices or kids going to school. So it was there was a lot more traffic, and you know, which was good for us. You know, that way we wouldn't have to wait a lot of traffic.
Hmm. And you had mentioned in the pre-interview how Many during these times there was a lot of riots and people protesting as well, and they were taking over trucks or like truck drivers about their whole career and everything. Were you ever afraid to just get gas or to make deliveries?
Yeah, I was afraid, that they were gonna, like probably take my truck or anything, but I always prepared myself by, that, if a situation presented itself, I would just, like get off my truck and, do whatever you want. My life's more valuable than truck or trailer.
Okay. In the pre-interview, you had also mentioned that you stopped at certain gas stations to take showers, just like being on the road the whole month for months. Did you ever take social distancing more deeply in consideration during those times?
Yeah, I always did, and still do, because as I mentioned, I have a 2-year-old son, so I'm always thinking of him. That I don't want to, go back home and see him and get infected, or whatever. So I always, follow the guidelines.
Mm. And as for your truck company, was it financially impacted by the pandemic, or was there such as much business during the pandemic as before?
At first there was business, but then as more people started quarantining, and there was a shutdown, so more people weren't going to stores and buying groceries or buying food or buying, you know, item stuff. So yeah, there was at some point it kind of it slowed down.
Mm. And this being said, was your pay impacted by the pandemic?
Yeah, because as I mentioned, the freights went down, so there weren't more there wasn't as many loads as there was the previous year or on the previous months. So yeah, and since I get paid by the miles, well, I wasn't getting. If I wasn't driving, I wasn't making money.
Okay. And um, do you know any truckers who got sick from COVID or passed away because of it?
No, no.
Mhm. And when leaving items in store, did you have contact with other people who were violating safety rules, such as people that didn't want to wear the mask that we see a lot in social media?
No, people always, where I would deliver the freight, they had their guidelines, from the state, from the government, from the store. So they always, followed it, because I mean, it was pretty. It's a pretty serious, you know, pandemic that we have to take in consideration.
Hmm. And also, in during the time that we met before, um, you had mentioned that you had changed jobs in the course of the whole pandemic. Were you fired, or did you resign from this job, or why did you choose to leave?
No, I resigned because, as I mentioned, the freight went down. There wasn't a lot of miles that I was driving with that certain company. So I had to, like, look for something better. I had to resign. You know, uh, thank God that I found a good company.
With the first company, what where were some places that you would deliver supplies to?
Uh, Mostly, to the big cities where there were like big epicenters to the disease, which was like New York, Chicago, California, Seattle, Florida, uh, those big states. Big cities.
When you were traveling to those big states that were Well, like as New York, it was at its highest peak. Were you ever scared that when delivering a load you would get contaminated or?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, not in certain those states, but every every town, every city, every state, you know, you're always with that thought in the back of your head, of your back of your mind, that by even by one person, just by one person being at the store, the cashier, you can get sick, you can get contaminated by them.
Okay. And could you please share some stories about being unemployed during this pandemic? If you recall any moments of financial stress or anxiety?
Yeah, when I when I quit that job, the first one, um, I mean, I wasn't financially prepared for it, so I mean, me and my family, we struggled at first, but thank God that I found this job, soon, quick, and started working back up again.
Okay. And during these times, did you ever receive help from your family or friends?
Yeah, from my family, I mean, they were pretty supportive.
Okay. And um, well, obviously you could find a job in this during this pandemic of not working after we're not working. When you were finding the job, did it was it hard during these times with the whole pandemic?
No, no, I mean there were a lot of companies that were looking for drivers and everything. It just was that what's it called? Looking for that, or for those what's it called? I guess you could say things that makes a difference from company to company. I
Okay.
mean, everyone was hiring and everything, but what I liked about this company was that I was gonna go home, and instead of being out driving for a month, I was gonna be out driving for a week and then going home on weekends. So that was a big plus.
And were there any was there a lot of competition for the jobs as truck drivers, or since you have to have the experience and the
Yeah,
willing?
I mean, you have to have the experience and not having accidents or kind of tickets or anything like that. So I mean, there were some companies where I applied and they were like, "Oh, you need more experience, or you need this, you need that," So yeah, there were those kind of companies.
And what is it like to work for this new employer that you have? How does it make you feel?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I mean, I get more miles. I'm always driving. I'm not stuck in some place like for 3 or 4 days. So I mean, they keep me moving. And whenever I have an emergency that I have to go home early or whatever, they're always they always comprehend and help me out.
Okay. And are there any workplaces precautions that you take to reduce the chance of getting COVID and bringing it to your family?
I always use my mask, Germex, when going to the stores, cleaning out my truck. I try to do it like twice a week. Just spray Lysol everywhere.
Mm. And as for your the when you go back to the company's headquarters, is do they take any precautions or how does it work when you get there?
Yeah, they every time that we come back, they give us brand new masks, and ask us if we need any Germex or you know get our trucks washed, stuff like that. So they're always on top of us with that, being safe.
And does this job provide you with any health care or medical benefits?
Yeah, they give us health benefits, and even yeah, in case if we get sick too, they they help us out with everything.
And how do you think your employer would treat you if you would get sick of COVID and would have to take time off work?
They would comprehend, and they would help us out, I think financially and support us, probably like take us to a doctor or anything. I guess they would be very supportive.
Okay. Thank you for answering these set of questions about your work. For the next set, I'm gonna be asking about your family. And during these times that the nation was declaring shutdown, what were your thoughts about your family, thus being you far away from home and them here by themselves?
I was worried, that probably that we're gonna get sick or you know something. I mean, with this pandemic, you don't know. So I mean, anything could have happened. That I was gonna be out. Like 1,000 miles away. And not being able to be close with them. To keep them safe. So I mean, that was pretty troubling for me.
When you first heard about the shutdown, were you at home or were you away in a work?
I don't remember. I think I was at away when I first started hearing about it. When I guess when it first got here in you know the country,
Okay.
and I mean I was surprised.
And did it take you long to come back home, or were you just starting off your month of trip?
I don't remember. But the reason I think that I remember is because I didn't take it seriously because I was like, it's another disease. I was I didn't thought it was gonna get as it is right now.
Mhm. And in the pre-interview, you had mentioned you were married and with a child. Would you? How old is the your child?
2 years.
Um, once you got home from work, did you self quarantine? At least for the baby, since their immune system isn't as high as.
No, no. Come to think of it, I never even thought about it. I always thought I was like, I mean, I don't have any symptoms. I take care of myself. Every time that I would go back home, I would, first take a shower, disinfect, myself from it, So I didn't, I never thought about it.
And your wife never really demanded, or she was just happy to see that you were okay without any symptoms and anything.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah. I guess that was it. I didn't have any symptoms or anything, so okay, you're fine.
And you had mentioned one of your sisters kept working throughout the whole lockdown. Did you make sure she would be clean thoroughly when she was coming home, when she would see the baby or your family or anybody?
Yeah, I mean, we would have arguments. Was keep reminding her, that this was a pretty serious disease and a pandemic that she should be more cautious towards the baby because he doesn't have the same immune system that we have. So it was always a battle with her to get that straight.
Was she the only one that you would struggle with, or was there any other members from your family that would leave and then decide to see the baby?
No, my dad, he always, I mean, I still think he still does think that it's all a lie. What it's a it's a strategy of the government to get us. I don't know what. I mean, I don't. I don't know.
And
Listen to it.
what did your family and spouse think about you working during this virus's peak?
They were scared, that I was, probably gonna get sick or even probably die. But thank God, still here.
And what types of social distancing and disinfecting did you practice with your family after being after on the road coming back home?
Like I mentioned, every time that I would get back home, uh, I would first, take a shower, take off my dirty clothes, throw into the laundry, get it washed. My shoes, get them disinfected. You know, um, and just disinfect, the whole my whole truck, my things, everything.
And would every time you would come home, would you deep clean your truck or just the what you would use and like take down in the house?
Yeah, I know. Like pretty much, what I had in the truck, always I would keep it in the truck. I wouldn't, get it down to the house or anything. Like my clothes, like I have clothes that I only use here in the truck that I don't take inside the house, home. I have shoes just for the truck, so I think that really helped out.
Okay. And how has COVID affected your family gatherings, or if it has, or does your family function like before the pandemic for parties, holidays, birthdays?
Uh, I mean, we don't hang out as much as we used to, not in the holidays or anything like that, but just in general, any weekends for a barbecue, we couldn't do that anymore, for the sake of each other, of our families, of our sons, so that was a big change.
Mm. And does your current job create any tension in your family because of this pandemic?
No, 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 no.
Everything goes smoothly as before?
Yeah,
Okay. And then once you got home after the months of of the news, did you oh no, I asked about this already, I'm sorry. Were there any times when you returned from work that your wife and your family was opposed to it? Going to those big cities that it was at its highest?
yeah. I mean, it was. She would like, not get mad, but worried more when I would tell her, I'm going to Chicago or I'm going to California, going to Seattle. It was there was always a big more stress with her. That just okay. Just be careful. Don't interact with a lot of people. Use your mask. Put Germex every time you get off the truck or on the truck. You know,
And was she ever, when you changed into this whole new company, did your wife agree to it, or was she better with this one, or
yeah, she was more comfortable with this one because I was gonna be home. I wasn't gonna take long to come back home. I was gonna be able to go home more frequently, so she was pretty happy about that. And that I was gonna get paid more.
and um thank you for answering these questions about about your family and how it also affected them through you. For these final questions, I wanted to ask you: are you satisfied with the local response to COVID in Mission and Hidalgo County?
No, I mean the people didn't take it seriously. They took it as a joke or as a lie, and because of that, it skyrocketed there in the valley. Not as much as it should have been. And I guess people just yeah, I mean they just didn't take it seriously, and a lot of people died because of that. I mean, all they care about was, oh, I want to go to the club, or I want to go to the beach, or I want to, you know, live normal. I mean, but they didn't understand of the of the seriousness of this pandemic that we're living.
And were you satisfied with the state response to COVID led by the government, the governor Abbott?
At first, yeah, because he shut down the whole state. No one's going out. Gotta use your mask. But then, when he reopened it, that it was too soon. And then everyone was telling him it was too soon. And listened. And he opened the state. Within like the first days, the number of cases just skyrocketed. It became even worse. So I mean, yeah, I don't like that guy.
And did you see any differences between um, seeing how it was impacted right after he had decided to open the state again so quickly?
The what?
Like, what were your emotions and what you thought about? Like, did you see any differences when
Oh,
you decided to open finally, like with people around here in the valley, or
I mean, I was pissed, surprised, that he did that, and then people just like went loose. They started going to the clubs and to the bars, to the beach, and then a couple of days went by, weeks, and they started getting sick and this and that, and I mean, it was just stupid, just to do that.
and you traveling from with your job away from the state of Texas, did you see any differences also with other states to Texas?
Yeah, there were states where they were taking everything seriously. Everyone was using their mask, using the distancing, the the Germex. I mean, there were a lot of states, that were taking it seriously, and you could see, because there weren't a lot of people getting sick compared here to Texas, to the Valley, where I mean, it just skyrocketed.
Mhm. Are you would you say that you're satisfied with the national response to COVID led by President Trump and his administration?
I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, I'm not all that into politics or anything like that. But I guess he did a pretty good job.
Do you think you would and if you had the power to respond to COVID-19, what would you have been what would you have done differently if anything?
Probably prepare myself more, me and my family. Um, get more sanitary items. Just be more prepared, I guess.
Okay. Well, as we know, this is a special year in our national democracy because it's a presidential voting year. Did you vote? If so, did you notice or do anything different because of COVID-19 pandemic?
No, I didn't vote. I mean, I've never voted. I'm not into politics and all that stuff.
Mm,
And I mean, I don't know. Couldn't answer that question.
okay. And is there anything else you would like to share with me about your experience with COVID-19 and what that I have not asked about?
It's just something new that we're gonna have to get used to it. It's like everything. It takes time, patience, but we have to like just move on, live. Learn to live with it. Not you know, not. I mean, yes, fight it, but just live with it. This is gonna be. something to remember. Another story to tell our future generations. Oh, we lived through a pandemic. This and this and this happened.
Well, I thank you for your experiences and your stories about this COVID-19 and how you experienced it from being a truck driver to delivering to the different states around the country. And just so you know, this is going to be archived in the UTRGV University Library in the collections and archives, and it's going to be used for the Voces to as a project for our students. And I thank you for your stories again. And
You're welcome.
yes, well, have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.